Good afternoon. I'm Alexandra Klitsina, journalist of Kyiv Post. Today with us, Ukrainian MP and member of Ukrainian delegation in the Parliamentary Assembly of Council of Europe, Oleksiy Honcharenko. Good afternoon.
Hello.
You just returned from your business trip. You met Truss yesterday in London. Please share your impressions. Is Ukraine's support as strong as under Johnson's leadership?
Yeah, I was invited to take part in the conference of the Conservative Party, which took place in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. And that was an honor for me. I had a possibility to speak there, and yes, I met with Truss, with Foreign Minister James Cleverly, with my colleagues MPs also from other countries. And I can tell you that the United Kingdom is the very close partner of Ukraine, and the United Kingdom shows leadership in the support of our country and in uniting of the free world. And before, when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, and whom I also know personally, and he is absolutely amazing, he's hero in Ukraine today. But also Truss, she's also very good, very strong, because she was Foreign Secretary, and so she knows all the issues. She's very much inside the topic, reassured us that United Kingdom will continue to support Ukraine till our victory. Like James Cleverly said, till the last Russian tank will be taken by last Ukrainian tractor, we will continue to support you until you win. So that is very important, but for sure we need to speak, because there were a lot of people, like members of the party, members of the parliament, of local councils, and they have questions, and you should answer them. That is the diplomatical work and parliamentary diplomacy, which is also important.
Is Britain ready to increase military support for Ukraine?
Britain is supporting us militarily very actively. Possibilities of Britain are not so high, because Britain, the United Kingdom, is more strong on the sea than on the land. The United Kingdom shows, I think, very, very high level of support. They will continue to do this. I can't tell you that there will be much more, because for them it's hard to make much more. But even if they will continue in the same pace, that will be very important and strong support for us.
I would like to ask you about Elon Musk. What do you think happened with him? Why he expressed such pro-Russian statements recently in Twitter?
I think that it shows us once again, which we all know, that nobody is perfect, and being extremely successful in one area doesn't mean that you are extremely successful in another. So he is absolutely great entrepreneur, which knows the whole world, but he is absolutely awful geopolitician, like we now see. If you are a billionaire, it doesn't mean that you can advise to everybody and that you can really advise something. Because if such, he can go on a football pitch and also, to play and show how to play football or basketball or everything else. So everybody should make their job, and Elon Musk is making a big mistake, and I don't even understand why he's messing in all this. I just remember there is a joke that British scientists, they found the reason and the mystery of smile of Mona Lisa. She's just stupid. So that's, I remember when I'm reading Elon Musk tweets about Ukraine.
Is Ukraine's application to NATO membership affects risk of usage of nuclear weapons by Russia?
No, I think on contrary. If Ukraine would be member of NATO, there would not be this awful war. There would not be any risk of nuclear weaponry usage in Ukraine. There was an attempt from the West to build security on the position that Ukraine is like a buffer between Russia and Europe. And it simply didn't work. There is no sense now to discuss it, because it just didn't work. So now we need to change this, and Ukraine should be a member of EU, and the EU agrees with this. We became candidate, and we should continue this way. And also the same with NATO. Certainly at this moment it will be more difficult, because right now active military fighting is on our area, is in our land, and that is certainly a problem. but we will win this war sooner or later. And the only way to have security on the European continent is to have Ukraine in NATO.
How long would it take for Ukraine to become a NATO member, and what is the requirements?
Nobody will tell you today. And requirements, this is a political decision of member states, but also there are clear requirements. Usually they are put in the membership action plan. But for example, we see that Finland and Sweden, they skipped this stage of membership action plan, and they started immediately the negotiations on joining NATO. Now we also want to go this way. I'm not sure that it will happen like this, but in any way, this is a political decision. And saying about requirements, Ukraine today is already like we are fighting for all NATO. That is the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you assess the hostilities? I think you have some insights. How long do you think this war will last, and what is the projections?
I'm not Nostradamus, unfortunately, so nobody will tell you exact term. But what I can tell you that today is a very big window of opportunity, and I'm telling this to all my colleagues and partners with whom I met, that now is the moment. Like in the end of March, if Ukraine would have more weaponry, we would have the weaponry that we have today, howitzers, HIMARSes, and other systems, we would destroy Russians completely when they were retreating from Kyiv after their failed blitzkrieg. But we hadn't the weaponry to purchase them. And they changed tactics. They switched to this like a trench war, like a First World War style, that prolonged the bloodshed. Now again, now they mobilized people. Before these newly mobilized soldiers would arrive, I think we could finish everything. 1-2 big defeats, like liberation of Kherson, maybe some defeat in Donbass, or Zaporizhia region, and Russian regime, Putin's regime, would collapse. And that is the moment. But for this, we need more weaponry. And we need to wipe out these artificial red lines in our weaponry supply, like drones, yes, aircrafts, not. HIMARSes, yes, but only with the short-range missiles, so long-range missiles, not. Armored vehicles, yes, tanks, not. If we would receive now tanks and long-range missiles, I think we can finish everything in weeks.
Do you think we will receive it?
I don't know. I'm trying my best, and the whole country and all our diplomatic front, so we will continue to work. If not, then these mobilized will arrive. They will not change the result of the war, but they definitely can they can prolong this bloodshed again.
What is the probability of revolution in Russia, and how do you assess Russian opposition and its leaders? Who could maybe become a new Russian president, in your opinion?
I don't know who will become new Russian president. To tell you the truth, I think that in general, country like Russian Federation, being continuation of Russian Empire, would collapse after this war. I don't believe that they will survive in these borders and in this like way of living. So I don't know even how this country will be called, what will be the name. So I don't want to predict the names of leaders. Those who are in real opposition in Russia, they are either killed or in prison or expelled. I know, like my friend, I can tell Vladimir Karamurza, for example, he's in the prison and they continue to put against him some absolutely ridiculous. Can it be revolution in Russia? It can be, but again, nobody can tell you when it will happen. Because such authoritarian regimes and even totalitarian regime like Putin built in Russia, they look very stable. Then at one moment they disappear and they become unstable and then they disappear. And it happens like this. So it's not some kind of process, it's long, no. So that is on contrary with democracy. Because democratic countries, they look very chaotic, unstable, a lot of political fightings, but in reality they're very stable because they're based on a majority of people. And here everything is based on one person and some like entourage around. So It can happen any moment, but when this moment will happen, nobody knows. So it's quite hard to predict.
How long would it take to bring Russian war criminals to justice? And what is the legal mechanism? Is there any progress?
I think that that is a very complicated question, and we need international tribunal, special tribunal against political and military leadership of Russia. Also, there are instruments of international Court of Justice, International Criminal Court, but all these mechanisms are quite difficult. So probably the best is this tribunal, kind of a Nuremberg tribunal, but this time I think it should be Mariupol tribunal, and they should be taken to justice. That's a question not about revenge. That's a question about preventing of such things happening in future in other parts of the planet. So we need to do this.
Absolutely. Why do you think some international organizations ignoring the war in Ukraine and also directly or indirectly supporting Russia's side?
International organizations, like for example United Nations, that they are useless, and there is no any results, unfortunately. When the situation is about member of Security Council, they are just paralyzed, and that's all. That is a very big challenge for the whole world. We need new system of international security, because this one doesn't work. Also, it's a very interesting question why Russia is in the Security Council of United Nations. They never were, and according to Charter of United Nations, Soviet Union is member, but Russian Federation is not Soviet Union. And Russian Federation even never entered United Nations, because there is a procedure which Russian Federation never passed through. So it's a very interesting question. I think they need big reforms, and it should be started by kicking off Russia from Security Council of United Nations.
And Amnesty International as well. So there.
Yeah, Amnesty International also showed either they are influenced by Russia in some way, or they just making the same mistake like Elon Musk, whom we discussed, when they are missing and messing completely different things and not understand their like very simple like reality. So it happens, but I think that image of Amnesty International is severely damaged after their report on Ukraine.
I would like to ask about your hometown, Odessa. It's known that a lot of pro-Russian supporters in the city. What is the situation now? Is it safe?
We can't tell that there are a lot of pro-Russian supporters in Odessa. I think they left very few of them. There were many supporters, and I even can't tell pro-Russian, but pro-Soviet maybe more. We're speaking about more aged people. But when everybody saw that how Putin is killing, first of all, Russian-speaking in Mariupol, in Kharkiv, in Mykolaiv, and other cities, Zaporizhia, so and in Odessa too, unfortunately. So people realized, many people changed their mind. So like majority of them. So only very few pro-Russian really people left. The situation in Odessa is like better than in Mykolaiv or Zaporizhia, but certainly it's far from normal. There are drone kamikaze attacks, these Iranian drones. There are missile attacks. There are no ground fightings around Odessa, and they will not be in nearest future for sure, because Ukraine is moving Russians, kicking off Russians from the right bank of Dnieper River, and we have all chances to, I hope, keep fingers crossed, liberate Kherson. So from this side, Odessa is safe, but like from the point of view of these remote attacks, it can happen everywhere in Ukraine.
In the parliament, you actively represented Petro Poroshenko party, who is in direct opposition to the President Zelensky. Is there any confrontation on political field going on in the parliament, or war changed something?
I probably was one of the most vocal opposition politicians to President Zelensky, and I can tell you that from February 24, for me there is no President Zelensky does not exist. There is a Commander-in-Chief Zelensky, And I can, like a citizen of Ukraine and Ukrainian, I can just help our commander-in-chief. That's my work. And I think that he is bearing his responsibilities as commander-in-chief with dignity. I'm speaking about Zelensky. It doesn't mean that I don't have any questions. I have them. But I will ask these questions after our victory, because today we're all united around one idea: to win this aggressor, to restore sovereignty of our country, to stop the enemy which kills our people. That's our common idea. And I think this is a general mood and feeling in the parliament. Well, we are all united, that we don't have any misunderstandings, and we have different positions on different topics. We try to tackle it in our conversations, to find some compromises. Ukraine is democracy. Parliament is working, and even when Russian forces were 30 kilometers from the building of the parliament, we continue to work in the parliament. So I think that shows that we have these institutions in our country, and institutions, that's what matters, not individuals.
Okay, thank you for this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.